My mom's fork clicked against the plate. "Don't pretend you matter," she said. I didn't raise my voice. I stood, slid a folder onto the table, and said 7 words that changed everything. I matter. I'm changing how I show up. The last straw was smaller than I thought it would be. No slamming doors or thrown glasses, just a fork, a speech, and the sound of something in me finally giving itself permission to stop bending. It was a Sunday in late May in Raleigh, North Carolina. Church let out and the humidity walked in, followed by relatives, aunties with deviled eggs, uncles with lawn chairs, cousins carrying casseroles like punchlines. The dining room smelled like garlic and pine cleaner and the roast chicken my mom makes when she wants the room to behave. We'd gotten through grace, through my dad telling the same story about the ACC tournament he's told since 1994, through my sister Brianna's little announcement about her dog's Instagram. I had a speech of my own, 3 sentences, practiced in my car at red lights for a month. I'm Hannah, 33, an oncology social worker at UNC Heath, eldest daughter, reliable one, the person you text when the printer jams and also when your marriage does. I live 15 minutes from my parents in a townhouse that knows how to keep the quiet where it belongs. My dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's 3 years ago. My mom loves him like an occupation and treats caregiving, like a private religion that forbids Sabbath. Since the diagnosis, family had quietly begun to mean Hannah. I handled neurologist appointments, the DMV paperwork, the pillbox that a mechanical engineer must have invented to make social workers feel small. I answered insurance calls on my lunch breaks, cleaned out the fridge in the middle of the night, paid overdue utilities, just this once. I did it with love that tasted like gratitude and fear that tasted like aluminum. "Don't pretend you matter," my mom said now, voice light, the way we joke when we want to make sure no one calls it a cut. She'd just finished explaining in front of my sister, my brother, and an audience that loves spectacle, that I couldn't move to Durham like I'd been planning because your father needs you here, and your work is optional. It was the sentence that, if I were writing a novel, would be unbelievable. No Southern mother says that to her eldest at Sunday dinner. Except she did. And the fork clicked against the plate like a period. I had promised myself I wouldn't argue in closets or send essays at midnight. I stood up, slid a navy folder onto the table, and said, very clearly, I matter. I'm changing how I show up. My brother, Malik, looked at his phone like it might swallow him. My sister, Brianna, studied the salt shaker with the deliberation of a surgeon. My dad, poor man, blinked the way he does when the room moves faster than his dopamine. My mom smoothed her napkin. "Sit down," she said, voice sweet like a trap. "We don't make scenes." "I'm making a plan," I said. "That's different." Jason, the person I love, who everyone calls my friend because my mother thinks boyfriend is unsanitary, was next to me. He put his hand on the small of my back exactly once. "I'm here." I opened the folder. On top, a 1-page document, 12 bullet points, titled Family Care Plan, Pilot. Under it, a month-at-a-glance calendar with names written in different colored pens, because I understand that sometimes respect requires art supplies. "Here's what's true," I said, keeping my voice in the range you use with patients and babies and people who confuse volume with authority. Dad needs care, mom needs relief. I can help. I can't help the way we've been doing it. "That's dramatic," Mom said. "We've been fine." "You've been drowning," I said. "And I've been your life raft. I can be a boat." "I can't be the ocean." Malik laughed once, a noise he tries to turn into wit when he's uncomfortable. Brianna nudged him with her knee. My dad reached for my mother's hand. She didn't take it. It's not that she's mean. It's that she's tired in a way that makes kindness feel like a chore. I slid the 12-point plan across the table. Family care plan, pilot roles. Dad is the patient. Mom is the spouse. Kids are the team. No one is the hero. Schedule. We divide the week. I'm Tuesdays, 3:08 p.m. Malik is Thursdays, 5:09. Brianna is Saturdays, 10:02. Sundays rotate. Whoever hosts dinner hosts Dad and Mom for 3 hours. Calendar attached respite. We hire in-home respite care for 8 hours a week. I'll cover the first month. After that, we split costs. me 40%, Malik 30%, Bry 30%. If you can't pay 1 month, you take extra shifts instead. Medical. I'll attend neurology appointments. Malik, you manage prescriptions, set up auto refill pickup. Bry, you handle durable medical equipment, walker, shower chair, grabbed hot slow, bars, meals, Sundays. Whoever hosts sends leftovers for 2 days. Wednesdays, I'll use a meal delivery service with discounts from a charity I work with for dinners, paperwork. I've prepared medical power of attorney and advance directives for Dad and Mom. We will sit with a social worker at the clinic this week to finalize. No more guessing later, safety, no driving unless cleared. If Dad attempts, keys go in the lockbox. Code is changing, we'll all have it. None of us are children. House. We hire a cleaning service twice a month for 3 months. I'll cover first 2 visits. After that, we split in thirds. If that doesn't work, we rotate Saturday cleanings, communication. We use a group text char WhatsApp. No side texts about someone who isn't in the thread. Language. We don't use burden, crazy, or dramatic. We say tired, scared, or overwhelmed. We ask, how can I help? Not, why didn't you? Boundaries. If someone insults another member, that person leaves the conversation and tries again later. If Mom tells me I don't matter again, I will leave the house. I will not return that day. We can try again. Review. We meet in 1 month with the clinic's social worker. We adjust the plan. At the bottom, I'd written a line in bold. If you don't want this plan, I will not be the fallback. I will love you from farther away. I expected the argument. Old grammar trying to teach a new sentence who's boss. You think you can just... Mom made a little circle with her hand like she was swirling soup. Schedule people? I think we can choose something better, I said, or we can keep doing this and pay for it with our bodies. My dad, who rarely picks a fight that isn't limited to a crossword puzzle, cleared his throat. I like the days, he said. He tapped the calendar with a wobbly finger. I know who's coming. Malik looked at the calendar like it had personally offended him by using the color blue. Thursdays I ball, he said, not giving that up. Okay, I said. What can you do? He shrugged. Mondays, 6 to 10. I wrote M on Mondays with a black pen. Done, I said. Brianna stared at the plan like it might turn into something she understands, like a list of ingredients. I can do Saturdays, she said softly. I can take Mom to brunch. We can get our nails done. She looked at my mother like she wasn't sure she was allowed to be tender. Would you like that? My mother's mouth was stubborn. Her eyes, traitors in the best way, watered. I don't need pampering, she said. I need a nap. That's what the respite is for, I said. I called 3 agencies. The one I like most has aides trained in Parkinson's. They can come Tuesdays and Fridays. We start with 4 hours each day. Who pays? Mom asked, and I heard her pride trying to negotiate with her exhaustion. We all do, I said. I'll take a bigger share, but I won't do it alone. And if we say no? She asked, finally speaking the line I'd been waiting for. The old note slid under a new door. I'll step back, I said, letting my shoulders drop like they'd been waiting to. I will love you. I won't be the default. She stared at me like I had just told her I was moving to Saturn. Don't pretend you matter, she said again, automatic, the sentence she uses like an inhaler when control is out of reach. I matter, I said. And so do you. She picked up the calendar, studied it, and then she did the bravest thing I've seen her do since the day she marched into the school office and told the assistant principal to stop calling my little brother son like it was a compliment. She asked for help where everyone could hear her. Bree, she said, I could do brunch. Okay, I said, letting my breath go. We start Tuesday. We did. It didn't become Hallmark. It became ordinary, which is rarer and better. On Tuesday, the aide showed up at 11 with soft shoes and firm hands and a voice that made my mother let herself sit down. I went to work at noon instead of pretending my laptop on the couch was a plan. On Monday nights, Malik came by with takeout and stories that didn't put me in the position of being a translator between young masculinity and aging disease. On Saturdays, Brianna took Mom to a cheap place with a good playlist and learned which nail tech doesn't talk much and therefore qualifies as rest. The plan didn't solve everything. Parkinson's is rude. My father's body lied to him in new ways each month. Fingers that wouldn't button, feet that wouldn't start, a swallow that forgot what to do for one awful second and then remembered. But he smiled more. My mother stopped crying into dishwater. I slept. 3 weeks in, I got a text from my mom at 3:12 p.m. Hannah, the aide is an angel. I scheduled my own mammogram. Love, Mom. I wrote back, good. And then I went into a stairwell at the hospital and cried into my sleeve like a feral cat because I was not braced for the relief of getting my mother back. At the 1-month mark, we met with the clinic's social worker, Mrs. Patel, who has spent enough time inside families to know when to let a silence work for her. She asked what was working. We said the calendar, the respite, the group text. She asked what wasn't. I said how my mother still sometimes made jokes about me being dramatic when I said I needed to leave by 7. My mother said I treated everything like a work plan. We agreed to try a thing called repair in. The moment, say, that hurt, and the other person says, I'm sorry, not, you're too sensitive. We put it on the fridge like a menu. 2 weeks later, I got a different call, the kind of call social workers train for, and daughters don't. Hannah, Mrs. Patel said, the hospital is piloting a caregiver stipend for families coming to clinic. It's small, $400 a month for 6 months, but it's meant for respite. Your family qualifies. Would you like to apply? I filled the form out that night with Jason on speaker reading me the lines, like we were applying for a passport to a country where help is allowed. We got it. My mother cried. We added 2 more hours on Fridays, and Mom started going to a drop-in yoga class for women who don't want to talk about yoga, but do want to lie on a mat in air conditioning and be told when to breathe. Then came the relapse. Not my father's, my mother's mouth. It was a Sunday dinner again. Chicken again. The routine had made the days feel like a hammock you could sit in for a minute. My mom set a plate in front of me and said cheerfully, "Is our martyr going to stay till dessert? Or do you have somewhere more important to be?" It wasn't the worst thing she'd said to me in my life. It wasn't the worst thing she'd said this year. But the plan had rules, and I had promised myself to act like I mattered, not explain it into being 8 days later through text. I'm leaving, I said, napkin down, voice even. We can try again another day. She opened her mouth. You could see the old lines moving up her throat like bad subtitles. My father put a hand on her wrist. She closed her mouth. Then she said a sentence my mother had not said out loud to me in years. I'm sorry. It ruined me. In the good way. The kind where your chest cracks open and a flock flies out and now you're happy for days for no reason, like you've been smuggling birds and suddenly you remember you are supposed to let them go. I left that night and did not apologize. The next morning I came at 10 with milk and an apology cake that said repair and blue icing because I am subtle. She laughed. We sat in the kitchen and didn't pretend we were new people. We were the same people with a plan. Summer turned north. Carolina green and violent with plants. We adjusted the plan. Malik asked if he could trade some caregiving hours for cash on weeks his shifts got cut. I said yes if he would be the one to call the pharmacy for refills. He did, surprising me. And himself. Brianna moved to Charlotte for a job and couldn't do Saturdays. She still drove up twice a month and paid for one cleaning. She also FaceTimed Mom during bingo like a teenager in love with their phone, and for once, I was glad for the rectangle. And its appetite. I moved to Durham, quietly, without permission. With the plan. My mother didn't like it. She also didn't try to stop me, because she had learned I meant it when I said leaving wasn't the same as abandoning. Jason carried boxes. Dad held the door. Mom told me not to forget my compost. Bin as if she were as proud of my eco-guilt as she once was of my report cards. The title of this story promises a moment that rearranged more than a calendar. It came in October, 2 weeks after I'd started my new commute. My mother called on a Wednesday morning. "Are you busy?" she asked, tentative, the way she does when she thinks the answer will be yes and doesn't want to owe me an apology for calling. I was between consults. "What's up?" I said. I signed up for the caregiver support group, she said. I start tonight, she rushed on. I know you've been telling me for a year. I told myself I didn't need it. I told myself the other ladies at church would think I was weak. I told myself I was fine because I could do it. I am not fine. If I can't do it and be kind, I want to be kind. I sat down in an empty exam room and let the vinyl chair squeak a sentence I didn't have words for. I'm proud of you, I said, and meant it so much I could feel my molars loosen. A month later, she wrote me a note on an index card and taped it to her fridge next to our care plan. Hannah matters, Elena matters. Repair in the moment, take the nap, ask for help, say thank you. I took a picture. I put it in my phone under a folder labeled Proof. When my dad's tremor got worse, we moved. From a walker to a rollator and then to a wheelchair for long days. The aides taught me tricks. I taught Bree. Mom taught Malik because she can admit she learns now. We did paperwork, Medicare open enrollment, IYKYK in 30 minutes because we were now people who had a folder for that. We added a line to the plan no one thought we would use, hospice information, not because we were close, but because you write instructions for the future when you are sane, not when you are drowning. On Christmas Eve, the house was full again. Cousins, new babies, the casserole with the crispy top that can make a ceasefire last for 6 hours. My mother stood up with a glass and did not perform an indictment. She said, I forgot how to be grateful without needing someone to earn it. I remembered this year. She raised her glass in my direction and then toward the calendar pinned to the corkboard. We learned how to be a family again. I don't know if you get a moment like that and get to call it the end of anything. I don't trust ends, but I trust practice. We kept practicing. The only magic I did in this story was 7 words. I matter. I'm changing how I show up. The rest was paper. The kind of paper anyone can make with a pen and a refusal to keep telling yourself the old story in rooms where it hurts you to say it. My mother is still herself. A woman who keeps extra casseroles in the freezer in case tragedy or teenagers show up. She still sometimes calls me and starts with someone else's weather before getting to her own forecast. But now she knows how to ask for an umbrella. She knows her daughter matters. She says it out loud. She writes it on her fridge, and me. I moved into my Durham place with Jason and 2 plants I haven't killed. I see my dad 3 days a week, not 5, and I don't count it like debt. I sleep. I am a better social worker because I stopped making a job out of being a daughter. I am a better daughter because I stopped pretending I didn't matter at my mother's table. If you're looking for a revenge line, I don't have it. If you need a plan, here's mine, adjusted for you. Say the sentence, write the page, keep the promise, make the repair, take the nap. It's not cinematic. It's what love looks like when it stops trying to be a martyr and starts trying to make breakfast. And yes, their lives never were the same again. That's what happens when you replace an old rule with a new one and then live like you believe it. I matter isn't defiance. It's maintenance. Say it once, then keep saying it with your calendar. Boundaries don't exile love. They give it room to sleep and wake up kind. A plan on paper will hold you when willpower and tradition don't.